I think there's a kind of guilt, that there's a kind of an acknowledgement that Boudica was mistreated, and there's an anxiety that Paulinus, in his reprisals in the wake of the suppression of Boudica's rebellion, I mean, he is kind of creating a desert and call it a wilderness and calling it peace. And the man who applies this perspective in the wake of Boudica's revolt is the new procurator, so the guy who's in charge of the finances of the province. And this is a man called Gaius Julius Alpinus Classicanus. And he is, so the Alpinus points to the fact that he's from southern Gaul in the region of the Alps. So maybe that Gallic background suggests why he might feel more sympathetic towards the Britons. But certainly, I mean, he writes back to Rome, he writes to Nero, and he says, look, this is all going too far. It's counterproductive. You need to replace Suetonius Paulinus, even though he's the great general. And so Nero sends a freedman, a man called Polyclitus, on a kind of fact-finding mission. Tacitus is very withering about the size of the mission that is sent, but it obviously does a very, very good job, because it reports back and says, yes, we need a new broom here. And so some ships are lost. And so they use this as an excuse to withdraw him and bring him back to Rome. And the new governor is the nephew of Aulus Plautius, who was the original invader, the general at the head of the invasion force, the first governor of Britain. And his nephew is a man called Petronius Turpilianus. And he and Classicanus work very hard, essentially, at, healing the wounds, at trying to repair the damage, and they don't engage in fresh conquests. So no further wars under Turpilianus's term of governorship. And Classicanus himself, already London has become the financial centre. London had been obliterated by Boudica. Classicanus clearly devotes himself to rebuilding it, because he can recognise that it's essentially the natural place from which to administer the finances of Britain. And when he dies in due course in 65, he's given this sumptuous funerary monument in the East End.